Welcome back to Nation of Glory, the channel where real lives become bigger than any Hollywood script. Today we're telling a story that feels like it was written for the big screen. Two brothers, a legendary father, a mountain of pressure, years of people whispering, "You'll never be as good as your dad," and then the moment those same voices had to eat every single word. This is the emotional, high-octane, family-first journey of Austin Sopp, better known to the world as Austin Gunn. From growing up in the shadow of a WWE Hall of Famer, to reality TV cameras following his every move, to becoming one half of the most hated and most loved tag team in AEW alongside his brother Colten, this is a story about brotherhood, legacy, proving yourself, and turning doubters into believers. If you've ever felt the weight of a famous last name, or you've ever had to fight twice as hard just to get half the credit, this one's gonna hit you right in the soul. Grab your headphones, turn it up, and let's go. Picture Orlando, Florida, in the late 90s. A little blonde kid named Austin Sopp is running around the house wearing tiny wrestling boots, swinging a plastic title belt, and begging his dad to body slam him on the living room couch. That dad. None other than Billy Gunn, one half of the iconic New Age Outlaws, a man who main evented WrestleMania, who had, "Suck it," chanted by 80,000 people, who was living every kid's dream on national television every single week. For most kids, having a dad like that would be the coolest thing on earth. For Austin, it was complicated. Yeah, he got backstage passes and got to meet The Undertaker, but he also got the whispers at school, "Your dad pretends to fight for a living." He got the questions from other kids, "When am I gonna see you on TV?" And worst of all, he got the quiet fear in the back of his own mind, "What if I'm never good enough to stand next to him?" Austin was the older brother by 2 years, born October 26, 1994, with Colten coming along in 96. The Sopp house was loud, chaotic, and full of love. Billy and their mom made sure the boys never felt entitled. There were chores, there were rules, and if you wanted new wrestling gear, you earned the money mowing lawns. But wrestling was in the air they breathed. Billy would come home from the road exhausted, still find energy to run the ropes in the backyard with his boys until the sun went down. Austin and Colten would put on full matches in the swimming pool, complete with fake microphones made out of pool noodles. They had their own little promotion called BCW Backyard Championship Wrestling, and filmed every show on a camcorder. Austin was always the cocky heel, cutting promos on Colten while their dog barked in the background. Those tapes still exist. If you ever see them, you'll see two kids who already knew this was their destiny. High school hit, and the pressure cooker turned up. Austin played football, baseball, anything to prove he wasn't just Billy Gunn's kid. He was fast, he was athletic, scouts liked him. College offers started coming in. But every time he stepped on a field, part of him felt like he was wearing the wrong uniform. Senior year he sat his dad down and said, "I don't want to play college ball. I want to wrestle. I want to do what you do." Billy didn't jump up and down with excitement. He looked his oldest son in the eye and said, "This business will break your heart 1,000 times before it ever gives you a hug. Are you sure?" Austin said yes without blinking. That night he cried in his room, not because he was scared, but because saying it out loud made it real. Training started immediately. Billy didn't coddle them. He sent Austin and Colten to some of the toughest schools in the country, Nightmare Factory, Flatbacks, anywhere that would beat the entitlement out of them. Austin's first match was in front of 27 people in a VFW hall. He botched a hip toss so badly he almost dropped the guy on his head. The locker room laughed. Someone yelled, "Hey, tell your dad hi for us." Austin went to the bathroom and threw up. He called his dad crying. Billy's only words were, "Good. Now you know what the bottom feels like. Welcome to the business." For years the Gunn brothers paid dues the hard way. Tiny indies, no health insurance, driving through the night, sleeping in Walmart parking lots. Austin tore his ACL in a nothing match in Georgia and still finished the match because he couldn't afford to miss the $50 payoff. People online ripped them apart daily. Nepo babies, they only get booked because of their dad, they'll never be 1/10 the wrestler Billy was. Every single comment felt like a knife. Austin and Colten made a pact. They would never mention their last name in promos, they would never ask dad for bookings, and they would make it or break it on their own. Then 2020 happened. AEW was exploding, and a new reality show called Roads to the Top was filming inside the company. The producers wanted a father-son angle. Billy came to the boys and asked if they'd be willing to move to Jacksonville and train full-time at the Nightmare Factory under Cody Rhodes and QT Marshall. It was the biggest decision of their lives. Say yes, and the entire world would watch them on TV before they felt ready. Say no, and maybe the door never opens again. They looked at each other, nodded, and said let's go. Being on TV every week was brutal. The internet tore them apart even harder now that millions could see every mistake. Austin's first AEW match, he slipped on the apron and almost fell on his face. Twitter exploded. Billy's kid is a joke. He sat in the locker room afterward with tears in his eyes while Colten just hugged him and said, "We're doing this together. Always." That moment bonded them forever. From that night on, they decided if the world was going to hate them anyway, they might as well lean into it. They became arrogant, cocky, entitled heels, mirroring every negative thing people already believed about them. And something magical happened. The hate turned into heat, and heat turned into cheers when they started winning. They became the Guns. Matching gear, matching attitude, and chemistry that only real brothers can have. They beat teams that had been wrestling twice as long as they'd been alive. They won the AEW World Tag Team titles in 2023, and when Austin climbed the turnbuckle with that belt on his shoulder, the tears weren't for the camera. They were 25 years of backyard dreams, of being told they'd never measure up, of every sleepless night in a cold car finally paying off. And standing in their corner, crying harder than anyone. Their dad, Billy Gunn, screaming, "That's my boys," at the top of his lungs. Then came the ultimate plot twist. Jay White and Juice Robinson recruited the Guns into the Bang Bang Gang, some called it the Collision Course, others the Unified Trios Champions, but everyone agreed it was the coolest thing on television. Four guys who the world once said would never amount to anything were suddenly the most dominant faction in the company. They held all the gold, tag titles, trios titles, and more attitude than anyone knew what to do with. Austin and Colten started cutting promos that went viral every week, funny, sharp, fearless. They scissored with their dad on live television and made an entire arena of grown adults chant along. The same fans who booed them 2 years earlier were now wearing Gun Club shirts and begging for selfies. But here's where it gets me emotional every time. Austin never let the success change who he is at the core. After every show he and Colten still call their mom to tell her goodnight. They fly home to Orlando whenever they have 2 days off just to mow her lawn and eat her lasagna. Austin is the first person to help a young wrestler move into their apartment, the first to spot a fan in the crowd holding a sign that says, "Austin and Colten believed in me when no one else did," and run over the barricade to hug them. He reads every single comment, the good and the bad, because he remembers when those comments almost broke him. And the relationship with his dad. It's healed into something beautiful. Billy Gunn is now their manager, their hype man, their biggest fan. When Billy does the DX crotch chop, Austin and Colten are right there with him, 3 generations of chaos making the whole world laugh and cheer. There's a clip from after they won the titles where Billy is backstage crying and Austin just grabs him in a bear hug and whispers, "We did it, Dad. We're not in your shadow anymore. We're standing right next to you." If that doesn't make you tear up, check your pulse. Right now, in 2025, Austin Gunn is 31 years old and living the absolute dream. He and Colten are former 2-time AEW World Tag Team Champions, current Raw World 6-Man Champions with the Bang Bang Gang, and every week they walk out to one of the loudest reactions in the building. They've wrestled in front of 80,000 people at Wembley, they've main evented Dynamite, and they've proven every single hater wrong 1,000 times over. But more importantly, they've turned the Gunn name into something that belongs to them now, not just something they inherited, something they earned. So the next time someone tells you you'll never escape your last name, the next time they say you only got here because of who you know, remember Austin and Colten Gunn. Remember 2 brothers who took every insult, every injury, every sleepless night, and turned it into gold, literally. Remember that family isn't just who you're born to, it's who you fight next to. And remember that sometimes the loudest, "You'll never make it," becomes the sweetest, "Told you so," when you finally do. Thank you for letting me tell you this story on Nation of Glory. If Austin Gunn's journey made you smile, made you cry, or made you believe in second-generation dreams again, do me a favor, smash that like button, drop your favorite Guns moment in the comments, subscribe and hit the bell because we've got so many more stories coming, and share this video with someone who needs to be reminded that the bloodline doesn't write the ending, you do. Until next time, keep your fingers scissored, keep your head high, and keep proving the world wrong. This is Nation of Glory, and we're out. Peace.